Hi guys, welcome to the Full Send RC YouTube channel. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to add oil to your shocks. The first step is going to be remove the screw on the A-arm. Make sure to take note of which hole the screw came out of, because on the Rustler VXL there's two holes to have a wider stance or a taller stance. Mine was on the inner screw, which is a taller stance. We're going to remove that screw completely, and now we should be able to take out the top screw that's attached to the body post. You may need to replace the oil in your shocks every so often, but today I'm just going to fill it up to the top. It started getting squeaky, so I knew it was time. This is the same process if you have new shocks. If you have old shocks, you can take it apart and dump out the oil and replace it. First step is going to be to remove the spring. It may be different on your car, but mine, you just pulled up the cap on the bottom that held it in place and moved it to the side. And then we can twist off the cap on the top of the shock. I left the screw in it to help get some leverage on it, but you don't have to. Here I'm showing you the shock oil I have. It's 40 weight shock oil, which is standard and is used for most applications. If you would like to use different shock oil, it'll change the performance of your car a little bit. Now that the top cap is removed on the shock, we can squeeze in some shock oil. I fill it all the way to the top. Once it's filled, I'm going to cycle the shock a few times to get out the bubbles. Once you see that there aren't any bubbles coming out, you're done. I didn't have very many bubbles because I was just refilling it a little bit. But if you're starting new with new shocks, or if you just replaced all of the oil, it may take longer. The oil can leak out of your shocks in multiple ways. The most common is just by use. Every time your shock cycles, a little bit of oil can come out. Sometimes your shock cap can come off and you'll need to replace it, especially if you're using the stock shocks. But on the upgraded aluminum ones, they're really nice. Now I twist the cap back on and make sure to get it tight. This is important to keep any of that shock oil you just put in place. A little bit should squeeze out. You can wipe that off with a paper towel. Now I'm going to put the shock back together. Make sure to get all the holders in place so the spring stays on properly. Put the spring on the shock. I have that little cap. I slide it over the rod and let the spring fall in place. This is a very simple design, but it's effective. Now I make sure the shock is working and springs out, or I push it in. Now we're going to replace that top screw that's on the body post. Don't over tighten these screws. They should be snug because the shocks are used a lot, but I don't want to strip it out or break the plastic. Once the top screw is tightened, you can go down and tighten the bottom screw. Make sure the screw is in the same hole it came out of, unless you want to change the stance of your car. This will be the same process for all your shocks. Some shocks are a little bit different, but the process is almost identical. Thanks for watching.